All right, how's it going, everybody? It is the Awesemo.com NHL DFS Strategy Show. 6 game slate. We've had a nice run of Friday slates, actually. So we're keeping it going with the good sized one today. Contests look pretty good, like a normal Tuesday and Thursday slate, which is nice. And I'm joined by Nolan Kelly for the news today. The news and some quality analysis. What's up, Nolan?
What's going on? Congrats on your big win last night.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was a good one. Man, Mika Zibanejad, pretty good player, huh?
You called him on the show.
I mean, yeah, I liked him. I think we had him projected to be pretty popular, and he ended up being like maybe mid-teens. But yeah, it was a close the laptop early kind of night if you weren't on some sort of Ranger stack with Mika and D'Angelo. Man, they've had a couple times this season, Mika especially, where he's just nuked the slate entirely.
On him. Can you believe he was traded with a second round pick for Derek Brassard 3 years ago?
Unreal, absolutely unreal. And I don't remember, like, that was like around when
I
I
think
was
this,
starting to get serious about DFS. But
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Is Cliffy on strike? No, Cliffy's not on strike. Cliffy will be on Monday, I think, if we have a slate.
protesting.
Yeah, he's protesting, holding out. No, I think Cliffy will be on Monday, assuming we have a decent sized slate. We've only got a few more weeks to go, and it's good. I hope for more 5 and 6 game slates on the non Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, because these ones look pretty good, and the contests
Yeah,
usually follow. So
yeah. Looking forward to building some 3-2-1s tonight.
3, 2, 1. That's gonna be your poison tonight. All right,
I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
fair enough.
You talk me onto it or off it.
Yeah, I think you can make a case like on these mid-sized slates. I think you can make a case for, uh, you know, 3, 2, 1 power play stacks, 3, 3, whatever the case. That's why I like the 6 to 8 gamers. You can do a little bit of everything. We're gonna go over lineups in just a second. Got the lineup builder pulled up here. That's nhl.lineups.awesemo.com. If anybody wants to use this for a lineups page, gets updated throughout the day with the implied totals that are derived right from the Vegas lines. Got a bunch of other quality information. You get premium features if you do sign up with a subscription. Promo code NHL Strategy is how you get 50% off your first week of any Awesemo Plus weekly pass. Yahoo is the sponsor. Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. More specifically, Yahoo's one of the most trusted names in fantasy sports. And how did that? Did you see at all how that 25-cent tournament filled up? Was it a couple nights ago or was it last night? I can't even remember. They had a 25 max 25-cent tournament, which was pretty interesting for Yahoo NHL. So I hope they run that out again. I don't see it here tonight. Could be because it filled, but it was no management fee. So I hope they do more of that kind of thing. Anyways, they've got contests. You've got the lower management fees that you're going to get over on Yahoo. Less pros. A lot of pros aren't going to play a $200 to first contest. So if you want to grind your bankroll and still get to play the 3 max and 10 max entries, Yahoo is a great place to do it. And promo code Awesemo is how you get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points when you do join over on Yahoo. NHL stack and player rankings are going to be your free piece of premium content for today. You would get these with either the Express package or the regular NHL package, or Platinum, of course, where you get everything on the site. So go check those out. Those are straight from Awesemo in my model that we came up with together. Last night, let's quick look at the 333. This is I think this guy's a cash game player. I don't know how to pronounce this, but this user, Q80, and then I'm not sure what it is after that. I do recognize the username. I think a pretty good player. Just 2 lineups. Let's see what the winning lineup was. I haven't taken a look at this tournament just yet. Colin White, Barzell, Lee, Pasternak. So full Islanders won. D'Angelo won off. No Zibanejad in this tournament. Probably the only tournament that was won without a Zibanejad in it. So Colin White, 2,600, 6.3 points, but got him to the right construction. Luke Cunnin and Alex Stalock in the late night hammer. Stalock with 30 DK points. Torrey Krug, David Pasternak mini was pretty solid. They combined for over 42 points on DraftKings. Did not expect to open that up and see a non-Zibanejad lineup. So, I guess maybe you didn't need him if you're playing in a smaller field tournament. This one was 337 entries. I'm assuming the next 10 to 20 lineups all had Zibanejad in them, if I had to take a wild guess. In fact, let's see what the sharps were on You know, generally the higher entry fee, the sharper the ownership is going to be. Let's see what Zibanejad was at here. I'm not finding him on the screen. I think we're having issues sorting it. I can search here. He was 10.5% owned in the 337 entry, $333 tournament last night. But 20K to first for this user. Great job. A bunch of the big names up there, as always, in that tournament. $10 was 10K to first, and this was taken down by our buddy B. Kreider. 150 lineups, 46 cashed. I mean, he just had, like, he crushed this tournament. You kind of knew it was over, unless something ridiculous happened in the late games, where someone, you know, had a Zibanejad type performance. He was going to win this pretty early on, paced the field by about 15 points. Strome, DeBrincat, Kane, just a three-man stack, no Keith, but he did have a full Islanders, one Zibanejad, Buchnevich, DiGiuseppe. Those guys all did just fine. And then Roman Josi and UC Saros for the Preds. 33.1 for Saros. I think he was the highest scoring goalie. And then Josi, certainly one of the highest scoring defensemen. So classic lineup construction. I'm assuming it was a two-man, and it just ended up becoming a three-man for B. Kreider there with the DeBrincat one-off. Nice job, as always. Had a bunch of others in the top 10, top 15, top 100, whatever it was. He crushed this tournament. And then I was able to have some success in the $40. I guess it wasn't the 33, it was the 40. Cash 15 out of 26. So a bunch of my top lineups ended up being good enough to be in the cash. So that obviously helped. My best lineup was Barzell, Eberle Lee, Zibanejad, Buchnevich, DiGiuseppe. Peary and Varlamov let me down, but I was able to get there with the D'Angelo Islanders one and Rangers one stack. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But let's move it on to tonight. We've got 6 games, pretty good slate, I think. Let's start with the Blues and the Devils. 3.2 implied total for the Blues, 2.3 for the Devils. Binnington and Corey Schneider are your goalies. Do we see any changes here?
Yeah, so Miles Wood up on the top Devils line, looks like, with Hischier and Palmieri. Hughes down with Zajac and Anderson. I think these other two lines are the same. Brad, Zach, and Gusev. Yeah, kind of splitting that power play time for New Jersey. And then, sorry, just let me pull up. I had a note here that I was going to read, and now it's not pulling up because my computer's really slow. Did not, what was it? I thought there was something on St. Louis' set, but I'll come back to it if I can find it. But looks like everything's pretty much the same from St. Louis.
Was it Parayko, possibly?
Yeah, okay, maybe that. Yeah. Was Parayko a game-time decision?
He was last time, but I didn't see any news on him this morning.
And his price has gone down as well, which is kind of surprising. Mm-hmm. So
4,600.
Great bargain on this slate as well. Guys just been ripping it up. 20 to 25 minutes a game. Has like multiple 10-plus point games in his last 10. So it looks like he's back in there. And then, what are you doing with this one? I was just looking at those St. Louis one-line numbers, man. They're terrible.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I just thought that they would, straighten out. They would be really solid. Devils actually do an okay job when they're on home ice. They've got the Zajac line. I don't know how strong the Zajac line is actually going to be. And it's still a really tough matchup for them. But Zajac, Hughes, and Anderson, maybe if they can kind of limit the damage here for St. Louis one. They're also pretty aggressively popular. If you look at DraftKings ownership projections, we've got them as one of the highest owned stacks right now. And I get the price is low. They've got the brand names, all that stuff. But I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of looking to go elsewhere. I don't think I'm going to get to where the field's at. I do love Pietrangelo, though. So that's making me kind of question what I'm doing here. Do I play a ton of Pietrangelo without, being pretty heavy on St. Louis one? I think he could get there without them doing a ton of damage, or like tournament winning damage, I should say. Right now I do have a ton of Pietrangelo. He's my highest owned defenseman, but I'm really struggling as far as what to do with Blues one, because I don't think they should be this bad at 5-on-5, but I also don't think it's a great matchup, and you're getting increased ownership. So I'm leaning towards definitely an underweight stand at this point.
I think I'm right there with you. I didn't realize they were going to be that highly owned. That's a little bit too high. Like they've put together some decent offensive output, but Corey Schneider in net tonight as well. I was going to check in. Do we know how Mackenzie Blackwood did the other night? I can't remember.
Remind me, who were they playing against?
It was Vegas, so
They
he
lost
let in
3-0.
three. It wasn't
Yeah.
wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think fade's the right call here, Jake. It's kind of a tough fade, but 20% ownership for that line.
Yeah.
Man.
If I was making one lineup tonight, it would not be Blues one. Obviously, It's different. If they if they pop into a few lineups in my higher stake stuff, and I can get a kind of a weird one, then that's fine. I still think they're a fine play. They're underpriced, but that might result in them being a little bit higher owned than they should be. And the Devils aren't that terrible at 5-on-5, especially on home ice. And the matchup with the Zajac line, like Zajak's a pretty respectable defensive center at this point. Looking on the other side,
I could go back to I could eat my words here, but I also feel like that St. Louis line doesn't like that combo doesn't really. These guys don't really explode all that often, Like they put in good games, but not like GPP winning lineup games. You think that's just narrative?
I mean, they haven't recently, so no, it hasn't been narrative recently, but it's in the numbers. Like they're just not generating that many chances at 5-on-5, and they're fully correlated on the power play. So quick power play goal, and they get one or two more, and all of a sudden, yeah, we're eating our words. But they've also got a good second line. Thomas, Sanford, and Perron. I think they're probably going to get the softer matchup against the Nico Wood, Palmieri line. So I like St. Louis too a little bit. On the other side, some of these Devils are a little bit popular too, but I'm still playing some of the Devils. I think either the top line or the top power play is how you'd want to attack the Devils here. I don't love it, but it looks like they're just pretty valuable and not nearly as highly owned as St. Louis. And obviously that's going to be the case when they have a full goal less implied, according to the Vegas totals here.
Yeah, that's fair. What about NJD3?
Yeah, I was going to maybe mention them as well. Zach Abrat, Nikita Gusev. That's a line we like. The problem is you'd want them against a team that's more top heavy, where especially when they're on home ice. Here, it's not an easy matchup against the Bozak line, or if they go up against your St. Louis 4. I don't know if they're going to have a great matchup, so not super high on New Jersey 3 tonight.
Brat on this line, I think this line has some solid numbers together. It's not Brat, it's Wood. I'm sorry. Disregard.
No, Zaka, Gusev, and Jesper Bratt, I'm pretty sure have pretty good numbers.
Yeah, it's all the Brat lines are awesome for New Jersey.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What about defensemen here? I mentioned Pietrangelo. I'm assuming you're pretty much there with me as well. One of the top options of the night at 5,700.
Yeah, super cheap. I don't know why. Like his price has come down like $1,000, probably just because he's had like 4 or 5 bad games in a row. So I don't know if this is like reverting back to the old Pietrangelo that we saw last year, but still getting the minutes, and I'm on board for that. Sign me up.
I'm on board as well. And then you mentioned Parayko earlier. I agree there. Falk at 3,200, probably getting a bump in minutes if he's going to play with Pietrangelo. On the Devils side, if you are going to the top power play, maybe Severson. I also
though, he's not getting a ton of power play time.
Is he not?
Like I think they're splitting their power play pretty. I'll look it up right now as you're talking, but I'm pretty sure they're splitting it.
I kind of like this Dakota Mermis, 2,900. He's playing around 20 minutes.
You don't need to play Dakota Mermis when we have the Anaheim Ducks coming up.
But Matt Irwin? Yeah, we'll get to Matt Irwin. Maybe the Matt Irwin pivot if you're using our projections.
All of the Ducks defensemen, man. I'm going to have like multiple Ducks defensemen in every lineup, and it's like
someone's got to play the minutes there. If they score a goal or two, someone's going to get an assist.
And I wrote up in the line changes, Goalies in the doghouse. So
really?
Irwin, Delzato, and the other guy all had who's the other guy? Juice all had like 25, 28 minutes last game.
Oh boy.
Anyways, we'll get there.
I don't know. I like Mermis. I'll say that. Let's go to the Blackhawks.
If his name was John Smith, you wouldn't have even brought him up.
No, I do remember him though because of the unique name. But yeah, you're probably right there. Let's go to the Blackhawks and the Red Wings. 3.4 implied total for the Hawks, 2.7 for the Wings. Could be Malcolm Subban for the Hawks. I kind of think there's a pretty good chance they go back to Corey Crawford. The Hawks still think they're in the playoff race. And this being a back-to-back, they don't want to take any chances that they probably want to put out their best team. Anyways, Bernier expected to go for the Red Wings. He's not technically confirmed, but that's the assumption there by a couple of people that I trust. What do we see here? Anything new? I'm assuming
No.
if it's anything on the Detroit side, but I don't see anything that's catching my eye.
I don't think Chicago skated this morning, though, so I think it was an optional.
Yeah.
So we probably won't know, but I'm guessing nothing new from them at all. And I think Detroit's all the same. Is that right?
Yeah. So I love Detroit. One, that's going to be a shock to no one. They're popular, but they're also popular in my exposures. Looking at them, they might be my highest owned line on the entire slate tonight.
Damn, I love it. So I think this is a return, man. We're back to the Detroit one of last year.
Yeah. People from Devils for Cubs says Detroit won with like 5 flame emojis. I agree with that. So no matter which line they go up against, whether it's the Tays line, whether it's the Kane line, or a mixture of both, I think they're going to be the better full line, whoever they're on the ice against. Like, Detroit's been bad the whole season, but this line, even going back to the end of last season, they've just been generating with the best of them. They're fully correlated. I still think they're kind of under-owned. I get the totals low, but this is one of the higher totals we've seen for Detroit, like, in the last month. 2.7, like, if they outperform that, if they get 3 goals or even 4 goals, I mean...
That's true, actually.
It's
been a while since we've seen a total that high for the Red Wings. Yeah, they're going to get lots of ice time. We actually have them as, like, in the top stack, so we have them at exactly even value. 17.7% ownership, 17.7 chance at a top 2 stack.
They're just way too cheap, I think. Bertuzzi being 4,300, I think both, you could probably make the case that Larkin and Mantha are underpriced when you factor in the back-to-back. This is a higher total than we're going to see for most Detroit games. I mean, I don't know. Like, where else are you going to go in Detroit? Me being an MME player, like, I don't really want to cross teams off. So I think if I'm going to Detroit, it's just all Detroit one, and or power play if you want to mix in Gagne or 5-man power play stack this with Hronek. That's something I'm considering as well on the Detroit side. But maybe this is finally the game the Hawks get blown up. It feels like it's been coming for a while. They did their best to give the game away last night, but they were able to pull out a win. On the Hawks side, this Strome, Kane, Nylander line, I'm starting to believe in it a little bit. Maybe if you wanted to leave off Nylander and do what B. Kreider did to bank the $10 last night, go like Strome, Kane, and DeBrincat or something like that, and add in Keith. There should be goals to go around here on the Blackhawks side more often than not, and then the Tays, Kubelik, and Saad line, also a pretty quality option here as well.
And DeBrincat's, one of our best value. He was the best value, I believe, on the slate last night. Popped 2 goals, 6 shots, is the best value among forwards again tonight. So you can use him in a variety of ways, like you said. I don't even mind one-offing him at 3-2-1. So
yeah,
just too cheap. And
going to get a really quality matchup against no matter which Detroit line that's not Detroit one he goes up against. So this is kind of the one game. I don't like forcing in game stacks, but I think this one, especially if Subban's in net, even if it is Crawford, like, I don't know. I thought maybe people would just be off Detroit entirely, but it feels like there should be a ton of goals. Detroit's a train wreck defensively. They're a train wreck in net, whoever they play. And then Chicago can generate offense for as below average as they are on defense. They can generate chances still with these forward lines. And then you can go with Keith at 5,400, just playing monster minutes, 25 plus with regularity recently. So if you want to play him for 5,400, I like that. That's really about it on the Hawks side. I probably won't be full stacking too many Doc, DeBrincat, Kajula lineups tonight. Could be another Alex Biega night, 2,700. I don't know. I mean, you're the Alex Biega whisperer, but I like Hronek at 5K. The problem with him is it's kind of like Girard, especially when he's priced up. Like, I don't see a large chance of Hronek going off without Detroit 1 having a big game. So might be a guy you consider only playing in Detroit 1 lineups.
Yeah, I think that's pretty. I think that's a pretty solid take right there. Yeah, I don't think Viega's bad, but again, like there are better punt options on this slate for defense that we'll get to later. I think so. I'm just gonna probably not have many shares.
Yeah, like Mermis, the guy we already got to. All right, let's go to Vegas and Winnipeg. 3 implied total for the Golden Knights, 2.6 for the Jets. Marc-Andre Fleury and Connor Hellebuck are your goalies. Surprisingly low total here. Do we see anything new?
No, I don't think so.
Just the way we like it. So we've got Winnipeg 1. Same thing. I mean, they're going the Scheifele, Wheeler, Connor line apparently for the foreseeable future. I thought Winnipeg was a really terrible team. Like, I don't check the standings too often, but later in the season I'll look and be like, man, I thought this team was awful, and they're fighting for a playoff spot. And Winnipeg is one of those teams.
Yep.
So they're probably going to keep things going if they continue to be in the race here. Scheifele line has been, it's kind of like St. Louis won. I don't know if you caught their numbers, but just having a really tough time generating at 5-on-5 and kind of relying on the power play here. And then on the flip side, well, I think they're going to go up against Stastny, Marchessault, Smith. On the flip side, that was a line that I was targeting pretty heavily against like 5-6 games ago, but they've been a ton better defensively recently, this Vegas 1 line. So if that's the matchup, I kind of prefer the Vegas 1 side of that. I don't know. I don't think projections really agree with me there, but this is one where, based on the numbers of the individual lines, I think I might be trying to force in some Vegas 1, and then I think Vegas 2 has quite the upper hand against whatever line they go up against. Carlson and Pacioretty together, they were solid with Nick Roy, and he's 2,500, makes that line super cheap. I really prefer the Vegas side here. I'm going to try to limit my Winnipeg exposure.
All right, good to know. I do like the Winnipeg side here, just because I think they're still a little bit underpriced.
That's fair.
Yeah, like Connor's gotten up there a little bit, but Wheeler under 6K, Scheifele 6K, and they're shaping up as a pretty good bargain as well in the top stacks ranking. So, you probably, they're not getting huge amount of ownership, but still a decent amount. So. I mean, we've been targeting Winnipeg all year, so Vegas 1, Vegas 2 makes total sense. They seem to be rolling lines in Vegas right now. Like it's not really, like we've seen in the past with these top 2 getting a huge ice time share. So I'm a little bit downgrading them, but the price point's right. So it's kind of offsetting each one, right?
Fair enough. I'm trying to see where I got to Winnipeg on my crunch I did here before the show. I got my laptop over here just looking at like 8 screens.
Winnipeg's only implied for 2.6 goals, man. That's
right. So my thing is like, all right, you could play Winnipeg 1 in a tougher 5-on-5 matchup, or you could play Detroit 1 for cheaper and at home against a team on a back-to-back. Like Detroit 1 has way better numbers. Like if I'm going 1 lineup, it'd be a way better chance I get to Detroit 1 than Winnipeg 1. So
yeah,
we'll have,
that's a good case, and like way better matchup.
Yeah. So I will have Winnipeg 1. I don't want to make it seem like I'm going to have 0. I often don't have 0 of any team or any line that's getting like some sort of ownership, but I don't think it's going to be very much Winnipeg 1 for me tonight. And when I do, in the few lineups that do get to them, it'll be some weird combinations just to try to be different. Neil Pionk, 4,800. Like, there's not a ton of great defensive options tonight outside of the top guys. He's 4,800. If you wanted to stack him with Winnipeg 1, that's fine. But kind of another guy I don't feel super comfortable one-offing with a lot of regularity. But I do think you can one-off a bunch of these Vegas defensemen. Theodore, Martinez has been solid. And then, I don't know, I think I one-off Nate Schmidt probably more than what I should, but I still think he's viable playing top pairing minutes and 4,900 and probably not going to be owned at all here.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm still inclined to use him in mainly in stacks though. So
yeah, man, I got to when I factored in ownership on my crunch here, I got to know Winnipeg 1. So interesting. We'll see here. Maybe a little bit too owned for me, even though the top stack tool might say otherwise, I think digging into the matchups a little bit, it's not as obvious of a play as it appears.
Yeah.
Ready to go to the next game? Get in the second half of the slate?
Yeah, I think so. Do you got any thoughts on Vegas 3? Not like blowing my, like, I guess don't seem like too. I'm not super interested tonight.
So
Is
they're
that
like nearly
one-off,
min
but
salary, which is crazy.
also cheap, right?
Yeah, and Winnipeg not being a great 5-on-5 team, you could probably make the case for them. Brandon Peary, we saw him score a ton of goals last year when he was up, but that was probably
McCousins, like getting decent ice time. I don't know.
Stevenson, our boy. He's finished a couple, but I don't know. I'm not sold on the combination of these three together, and honestly, I didn't find the need to get that
To
deep
go down
tonight.
that. Yeah, that's fair.
Let's go to the second half of the slate here, the final three games. Bunch of you guys watching on a Friday. Happy Friday. If you could drop us a like, that would be very much appreciated. Also, if you would, make your way over to Apple Podcasts and check us out. We've been putting up the NHL Strategy Show if you like listening on your ride home or whatever. We're going to try to keep doing that. Give us a 5-star rating and then review, say something you like about the show or one of the shows. Doesn't necessarily have to be this one. If you watch the NBA shows or the XFL or MMA show last night, I heard that one was really awesome that those guys did. Of course, you got to subscribe as well, and then leave your username or Twitter handle so we can contact you if you do end up winning the free Awesemo Plus monthly pass. So those winners, I think, are going to be announced today. Maybe they already got announced, but we're still running this giveaway. So get on that if you want to win a free Awesemo Plus monthly pass. 2.5 implied total for the Coyotes, 3 for the Flames. Darcy Kemper and Cam Talbot are your goalies. And what's the news here?
Nothing.
Nothing sounds good to me.
I'm just gonna stand here or just sit here and not talk for the rest of the show.
No, I mean it keeps it going.
For the best.
Like, we get in a nice rhythm. Like, we're playing the same lines. I love when the coaches stick with their lines a little bit. We get a sample, like, we know what
You're right.
what teams are, and
None of this late switch nonsense. You can go out and enjoy your family dinner.
Yeah. Although there's probably something to be said for staying in, and if you're playing DFS seriously, like just swapping and being on top of news, that's a huge part of NHL DFS where the news isn't very obviously accessible, like maybe like the NFL or the NBA where you kind of know where to go for that. In this game, I'm kind of torn about what I want to do. So looking at matchups here, I think we're probably going to see the Backlund line against Tkachuk, Backlund, Tkachuk, and Mangiapane against the Hall line. The Hall line wasn't great in their first game together, but kind of a pretty tough matchup against the Horvat line. That line's pretty decent defensively, and they didn't do a ton of damage at 5-on-5. But anyways, this is a really tough 5-on-5 matchup for Arizona 1. I don't love any of their other lines really, and so I'm kind of looking at Calgary 1. I know they don't project that well for us, but they are all on the top power play. They are going to get the better of the matchups, and they've just been playing lights out recently without kind of getting the insane results. They are generating at a really, really quality rate. You're on the same page?
I'm there with you as well. Just like as a team, like this matchup is a little bit siding with Calgary. I think over the past couple months or the past like 6 weeks, Calgary is a team second in expected goals for. Arizona is, I believe, third or fifth worst in expected goals against. So two teams kind of heading in opposite directions. At least the underlying numbers support that. So I like both of these Flames top lines tonight, and I'm going to try and get overweight on each one. Shouldn't be too hard either. Looks like they're going a little bit under-owned, especially Flames 1 here. They're getting almost no ownership. So sign me up.
Yeah, I like that. Flames 1, like if you can, here actually let me look at their projections. I think they're actually really low, and that's why you might have to organically bump them up. Like the projections are the projections. They're based on a larger sample, so maybe they're just running hot right now and they're getting easy matchups, but the way that they've played the last 15, 20 games, Calgary 1, like I think they're much better than what their overall season numbers should indicate. I'm not sure if someone was playing hurt, or maybe it was after the All-Star break, someone got healthy, or what's going on. Maybe they just started playing better. But I know they don't project perfectly for us. So if you can get past that, they get to go up against Arizona 2 and probably Arizona 3 and maybe even 4, with the back line getting the toughest assignment, and they're all in the top power play as well. So Calgary won, my favorite play in this game. Did you catch what Calgary did with their top power play? Why did Gio have such a big game the other night? I saw he had 8 shots on goal.
Oh, was it possibly because Kachuk left?
That could be. He was out. He was in and out a couple times.
Yeah, maybe they just went with 2 defensemen on there. I didn't see them change it this morning, so I'm just assuming that they'll go back to it. But his ice time was a little bit down last game, so I think, he returned. I'm not entirely sure. I have to look that up, but I think he left with an injury. He took a puck to the head or something like that, so that could be why.
Huh. Okay. So, I mean, as long as he's not going to be on the top power play, it's still kind of tough to play him, but you just never really know when these guys are going to pop off for the 5-shot, 3-block games. And, I think he still has that upside. It's just so tough to pay $6,600 again. Kind of the same thing as last game, and he made me eat my words. He had a massive game.
It looks like he didn't get any power play time last game, so I don't really know. I guess it was just all at even strength.
That makes me feel a little bit better about not having a ton of Gio tonight then. Even though I'm not a big.
So I do think maybe that'll keep people off of him. What's his ownership at right now? I bet it's really low.
So that makes him probably a better one-off then, right? If he's not going to play top power play, but he's like Edler the other night where he wasn't on the power play.
Although I feel like with Giordano, it's I guess with Edler it's kind of filling the stat sheet, but with Giordano you're maybe a little bit more points oriented,
right?
But
10%
ownership, it's not enough to get excited about rostering him as any kind of contrarian play, I don't think.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. I think we are... Oh, anything on the Arizona defenseman side? Ekman Larson's put together a couple nice games.
Yeah, I feel it's back to this old, I don't know. I guess it's one of the top 2 lines. They seem a little bit underpriced, but I'm definitely more inclined to go to the Calgary side of this one. I don't know. What are you doing with Arizona?
Probably not much with their forwards. If you're doing 3-2-1 and you wanted to play some Taylor Hall, then I think that's fine. I'm still not... Ekman Larsson's had 3 decent games in a row, 1 big game in that. Actually, 2 pretty big games for his price. So maybe he's just turning it around. Although he does have 4 points in those 3 games. I'm not sure he's going to be a huge point getter. It is a pretty low total for Arizona here and kind of just a tough spot overall. So I think I'm kind of out on these Arizona defensemen outside of just being completely different, just to be different.
Yeah, just looking at these Calgary 1 numbers as well in the last 6 weeks, still looking like they're holding pretty strong. 12 high nature chances, 4 per 60, 30 scoring chances, 4, 3 expected goals, 4 per 60. So all at 5-on-5, not bad numbers relative to how they were doing earlier.
Yeah, give in. They're telling me give in on Ekman Larsson. I think a couple more games, and I'll probably. He's got to make me really pay for me to give in on Ekman Larsson for me to play a ton of him. But I don't think this is the spot for him.
I'm a card-carrying member of the Ekman Larsson fan club, so.
I'm not, so a little bit of everything on this show. Let's go to the Avs and the Canucks. 3 implied total for the Avalanche, 2.7 for the Canucks. Pavel Francouz and Thatcher Demko are your goalies. Looks like both teams at least keeping their top 6s the same. Are you seeing anything else?
Yeah, Sheldon Dries in for Martin Kaut on the 3rd line. Much ado about nothing there. Zach McEwen with Gaudette and Roussel, Vertanen down on the 4th line with Sutter and Mott. Looks like everyone's good to go from the Canucks side of things. There was a couple game time decisions last game out. Myers and Hughes both in. And then Colorado, Burakovsky's still out, Kadri's still out. All their guys are still out tonight and guaranteed. So no game time decision for Cal McCarr.
All right, yeah, that was going to be the big thing that I was looking at this morning. If he was going to play, might be able to shake some things up. So starting with the Colorado side, it is an okay power play spot for them. A little concerned with how the McKinnon line played in the last game. Go ahead.
I don't know. I was gonna like it's also a better power play spot with Jay Beagle out as well. I think like Jay Beagle's probably one of the best penalty killers in the league, so I think that's gotta
Sure.
lessen their chances a little bit. But I don't know what to do because like I've just been our projections have been so high on Colorado lately, and I've just been riding strong with them
Yeah.
and trusting in them. So and like probably go back to the well tonight. I mean, Vancouver's depleted, missing Besser, missing Markstrom, and really bad defensive team that has had some holes plugged up by some elite goaltending on Markstrom's behalf. I think as a team over the year they're pretty bad, but even worse recently in terms of expected goals against. So I don't know. It's like narrative street here, but maybe this is like a bounce back spot for them. They're not playing well. They're in the playoff hunt. Like I expect them to come out a little bit gangbusters tonight, and so I actually kind of like the Vancouver side of this one everyone's going to be attacking the Colorado side, but Colorado's depleted as well. So yeah, maybe as a sneaky contrarian option, I feel like that Vancouver one stack is not bad tonight.
All right, which line are you referring to?
Or sorry, the Pedersen.
Yeah. So that's the one. I mean, I love that line. They have not skipped a beat since it's been Pedersen Miller. Like just Pedersen Miller this entire season, whether it's been Besser, Virtanen, and now Toffoli. Like they've just been so good at 5-on-5. They've actually been even better with Toffoli there recently. And they're gonna get the non-McKinnon lines for the most part. Going up against McKinnon is actually not even that bad based on how him and Landeskog have played without Rantanen. And so even if they go up against that line, I still think they have the advantage there at 5-on-5. I know, I think it's going to be Horvat going up against McKinnon for the most part. They hard matched Horvat against opposing top competition in their last game very heavily. It was like double-digit minutes against, I can't remember if it was Toronto or someone with a stacked top line. But anyways, it seems like a night where they're going to go Horvat against McKinnon, and then just a great line getting to go up against Colorado 2 and 3. They're down one of their best defensemen. I don't think Colorado is going to be that strong defensively at this point, and just give me all this Pedersen line. If they ended up being my top exposed line, like if they overtook Detroit 1, I wouldn't be too mad about that. I like all these low implied total teams, as you know, 2.7. I'm just looking at it with hard eyes, man. It looks awesome to me.
All right, I'm glad we're on the same page here.
Yeah,
because I'm going to be attacking it as well, and like we got to expect it's going to be Horvat probably matching up against McKinnon.
Vancouver has given up. Yeah, it's going to be Horvat against McKinnon. At least I think so. Vancouver's given up at least 4 goals in their last 4 games. Does that do anything for you?
It's tough because I don't know. Like I go back and forth on this one because I feel like they're definitely being exposed as not as good a team as they were. So, or as the record indicates, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you can see both sides of it, right?
I wish just looking at this on our lineup builder here, I wish Virtanen was up on Vancouver 3. That would probably be one of my favorite third lines on this slate. I don't think you need to get to third lines that often on a 6-game slate, but I would definitely
Zach
be
McEwen not exactly appealing. Virtanen's been like kind of lighting the lamp a little bit this year. So
yeah, I like Virtanen. He's just jumped around so much; he can't really get in a rhythm.
The Virtanen Pedersen Miller combo is one of the best lines in the NHL this year for expected goals for.
I know, right? So I think
they just don't trust him. I don't know.
I think you can stack up either of the top 2 Vancouver lines. You could go Horvat Pearson or mix in Horvat with the power play. If you wanted a full power play stack Vancouver, I don't think that's a terrible idea. If you wanted to mix in Hughes, kind of skipped over Colorado. Like I do think it's a pretty tough matchup, but if you're doing 3-2-1 especially, and McKinnon and Landeskog, like they just have to be part of your 2s and 1s in that scenario. And I think, it's not a perfect 5-on-5 spot against that Horvat line. They do a pretty good job. But Nemestikov is pretty cheap. He's going to be the guy that's left off. So I'm going to have Colorado 1. I just don't think are any of these second and third lines getting much ownership in our projections? Because if they are, like, I'm good just going elsewhere. It looks like Comfer is not getting much, but I think Yost might be even higher. Tyson Jost
Yeah,
might be even
Yost
higher
was crazy owned the other night, right?
just because of the top power play tag. Like, he's just not
Yeah.
a great DFS play, but maybe he'll turn
I don't
into
like
one.
that. I don't
He's not a
know.
draft pick.
Yeah, it's tough to like. It's a cheap line, but I'm not super excited about it.
So I like, if I can choose, I would love to get a top power play stack with McKinnon, Landeskog, and then like if you wanted to go Girard or just keep it with those two, I would prefer Comfer over Tyson Jost if I could only have one of those guys. And then you kind of know what to do with Girard. Do what you want with him. He had a big game last game, and Colorado 1 did too, so it worked out with what I did. I'm probably kind of keeping the same policy with Girard in that I'm going to try to limit the amount of one-offs I have of him and include him in top power play, top line stacks type of thing. Any of these Colorado defensemen interesting to you outside of Sam Girard?
Yeah, I like Ryan Graves, I guess. What's his price point at?
5K.
5K. So yeah, I'll have
What a bargain.
I'm
not even kidding.
pro. I know. Okay, good. I'm I'm okay with 5K Ryan Graves if Kyle McCarr's out.
Yeah. So he's playing decent minutes. He's got good peripherals. I don't know. I was late to the party with Graves here, but as a differentiation point, a guy who could get you one or maybe both of the bonuses if things go perfectly for him, and we've got him at very, very, very little ownership. So running 3 threes tonight, I think that might be a guy you swap to late if you've got Girard and you've got the $900 or Eric Johnson, and just a guy that could get you like 15 points at basically no ownership if the slate breaks the right way. Edler, 6K, you going back to that? He had a really good night the other night, and I thought he got a point, but he didn't. He had like 17 DK points without scoring a point.
I guess he's fine as a one-off, but no top power play unit.
Right.
Like 6K. I mean, I guess it's a roster construction thing, right? Like, if you have a chalkier build, don't take Pietrangelo because he's going to be the highest owned defenseman on the slate. So, and then you go if you have the money, go up to Edler, who's getting a quarter of the ownership, right? So I think that's not a bad strategy. Yeah, he's getting 5% ownership. So there's the argument for Edler, right?
Yeah.
But still, give me Graves. I don't know. Like,
I kind of prefer Graves as well. Quinn Hughes.
That ownership can't be right
on Graves, or
yeah.
I don't think Graves is going to be popular at all.
You think 1% ownership for Graves?
I mean, it might be at like 3%.
Wow. All right.
Yeah,
I'm in.
He's not on the power play. Maybe people will play him. Maybe he gets to 5, but
yeah.
I mean,
you can even like double stack that pairing. Like we've seen some success with double stack pairing and Graves and Girard. Probably going to see a bunch of minutes tonight, and I guess like Ian Cole is a safe play, but I don't know. I can never get excited about Cole and Johnson, but they do project out well.
All right, let's go to the final game of the slate. Once again, if you guys could drop us a like, that helps us out a ton in a bunch of different ways. Helps us show up on YouTube and get more subscribers, and more subscribers means we could put out more quality content for you for free, which a lot of you would prefer. 3.6 implied total for the Leafs, 2.9 for the Ducks. Jack Campbell and John Gibson are your goalies. What do we have here besides a pretty lopsided game?
Well, on the Toronto side of things, a lot of moving parts in this one. It kind of sucks that it's the last game, but I guess at least you still have the Colorado-Vancouver one you can kind of mess around with if anything goes awry. So Goodbranson and Josh Manson, both day-to-day, both skated this morning, so we won't know until game time. Hampus Lindholm, as well as a game time decision. I don't think he skated. Seems like he's been a game time decision for about 2 weeks now. This is just the way it is with the Ducks. You get no information. Brendan Gooley was benched halfway through the second last game. So all you Gooley lovers out there, tread with caution tonight. Only 10 minutes last game. And so Del Zotto, your choice between this like craptastical platter of Ducks defensemen is Juice, Matt Irwin, and Del Zotto. And for me, I'm going to have big shares of all three of them, though probably the most of Matt Irwin. And then on the other side of it, Toronto. Did I mention this already? I don't think so. Mulligan was actually – Engvall was skated with Toronto too in line rushes, but Mulligan was actually up on that line all
Yeah.
game long. So daily faceoff, last time I checked, still had Engvall up there, and it was Mulligan. So only 9 and 8 minutes for each of these second line wingers with that unit, or just total, and even less with that unit. So I think if you're stacking Toronto 2 tonight, you might want to consider just going with a 3-2-1 there.
Yeah, for sure. And you just leave off Engvall or Mulligan. I like that call as well. If you're doing 3-2-1, just take the two best wingers and kind of leave yourself the lack of headache. Or I don't even know, put in Nick Roy or something. I think he's better than either of those other two guys. But if you are full stacking and you know who's going to be on that line, if it is Mulligan, they're probably going to stick with him. Leafs are struggling. They're trying to find something here as they try to make it into the playoffs. As far as matchups go, probably going to be the Getzlaf line against Matthews Marner. And I don't really love the Getzlaf line. I know they're cheap. I know it's a pretty good implied total for the Ducks, and it's the backup goalie. I think there's a pretty good chance that line gets run over, though, by the Matthews line. So I love Toronto. Everybody loves Toronto. Everyone loves Matthews. So do what you want with him. I like the Toronto power play stack the best just because you kind of got guys you don't really want to play, whether it's Engvall, Mulligan on the second line. Zach Hyman's up to 5,500. Although I probably would, I'd probably rather pay up for Hyman with Matthews and Marner and just hope, Matthews puts one off his foot and in or something like that, rather than trying to play a bunch of the full Toronto second line. So moral of the story, power play stack is the best way to approach this. It's expensive, but if you're paying up this much anyways, you probably have to, the Leafs have to be one of the highest scoring teams, and the top power play is probably going to have to do some damage here.
Right there with you. Are you upgrading this Toronto team at all, just kind of mentally with this depleted Ducks decor?
Yeah. I mean, it's just a good total, and if you're putting out Delzato, Irwin, Jacob Larson,
even if Good Branson goes, it's probably an upgrade for Toronto.
Yeah, Hyman the empty net god. That's a good point as well. So
what's that?
Hyman the empty net god. He does score a bunch of empty netters every year to put that stack kind of over the top, it seems like. On the Duck side, which line you like, if any at all?
I wasn't getting to any, so I guess it's probably just the top line. I guess the second line actually is probably looking pretty good. It's one of those two.
I like the Henrique line. Henrique, Raquel, Silverberg, they played well. They seem like a pretty complete line. They probably won't get opposing top competition too much. Not that the Tavares Nylander line is a cakewalk or anything like that, but I just think that's
the Milano, Getzlaf, Heinen, Delzato power play one stack.
Oh God, I suppose it could come through, but I'm pretty sure the Leafs are one of the least penalized teams in the NHL, if I remember correctly.
I'll look it up while you're talking.
Yeah, they're bottom 10. They're actually not as low as I thought, but they also kind of suck at killing penalties.
It's true. It's offset.
So if you wanted to do a power play stack, I'm just not that certain that that's going to be the top power play. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a lock that they're going to come out.
It's 50-50. It's not like a usual.
So I actually like the power play 2 here with the better line. I think the better line, and then Christian Juice at 2,900. Everything okay over there?
Yeah, it's got some stuff going on outside.
Beautiful. Anything else in this game or anything on the slate we need to mention?
No, I think I'm good with that. Yeah. I do. Anaheim's just looking at Anaheim stats here. They've been really bad defensively lately. So I'm with you on that TO call. All 5 of the worst bottom 5 teams in scoring chances against over the past 6 weeks are on this slate.
Well, there you go. Should be a lot of scoring chances then if things hold true to the last 6 weeks. You want to quick go over kind of our top plays, if we were building one lineup for tonight.
I was just building one, and I kind of like the what we talked about, a little Van 2 Det 1 stack.
Can you fit them in?
Oh, easy.
All right. If you got
studs
more than
like
enough
Irwin
money
for Matt Irwin.
Yeah, Irwin and Mermis. There you go. There's the nuts right there. But I think if I was building one lineup, I would start with one of those two lines. And if I was hand building, I don't do a lot of that these days, but if I was, I would probably be more apt to play a 3-2-1 and maybe get McKinnon in there, McKinnon, Landeskog, if you could afford one of those two lines, and just differentiate elsewhere to make sure I'm not duped with my only lineup. So, I really love Vancouver, the Pettersson line, and then Detroit won. I'm buying into the chalk tonight. I hope it's a classic Detroit one night. Seems like everyone's healthy, everyone's on the same line. Hopefully they start that way. I mean, it's never a certainty that Blashill is going to put out the same lines as what he practiced with, but you just gotta kind of have faith. And
when's that dude gonna get fired?
Apparently never. Like, they've had multiple chances over the last few years, and they just refuse to do it. So I don't know who he has hostage or what over there, but yeah, it's kind of a ridiculous situation at this point. Shout out to Yahoo Data Fantasy Sports for sponsoring us. Go support them. Use promo code Awesemo to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. They have NHL contests that we've talked about at length, NBA. They've got soccer. They'll have MLB. Should be pretty good over there, especially with the CSV edit. I'm excited to play some over there in about a few weeks. And then, again, you're going to want to make your way over to the Apple Podcast, awesemo.com page, and then give us a 5-star rating, review, subscribe. Tell us something you like. Tell us your Awesemo Plus username or Twitter handle, some way we can contact you. You'll be automatically entered in to win a free Awesemo Plus monthly pass. Anything else, Nolan?
No, I'm good. Good luck, everyone, tonight. See you back here. You back tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow doing a solo show. I don't even know how many games we've got going on, but I'm assuming it's going to be a pretty decent slate. TBD on the time. As always, Saturday's a little bit tricky. But we will have something. We'll have cheat sheets, projections, all the good stuff. And we'll review some winning lineups from tonight. Good luck, guys.